Okay, let's look at the RPMs again. Because if this was a finance blog, we'd be making what? 40 per thousand views? I'm actually thinking maybe 100.
Yeah, definitely. But in our niche, which is in the hobby space, we get a fraction of that.
Exactly, because on paper, this is a terrible business idea. The big brands in our niche don't have to pay for sponsorships. The RPM is also low, and logic says we should be broke or we should have pivoted to another niche by now.
And yet, 90% of our income is still coming from ads, and we're not selling any courses or any snake oil.
I know. We just figured out how to win the volume game. So let's talk about how we made a bad niche pay all our bills.
Hi, we're the Branding Fix, two solo bloggers turned co-workers documenting how we're rebuilding and future-proofing our blogs and brands. And today we're going to be talking about why being in a bad niche was not the kiss of death for both of our blogs in the hobby space.
Odds are you probably don't have the highest RPM. You're also probably struggling to find an audience for your content, and you just feel like, you know what, maybe I'm too niche. Maybe my blog isn't the blog that is going to get 100,000 views, 500,000 views, million blog views, because you're also looking at other business bloggers, tech reviewers, just people in higher RPM niches. And we know this firsthand because we picked our blog as well in the hobby space. We are sharing our love and our interest. And the truth is, our blogs really struggled to grow in the beginning.
Yeah, and also we didn't intentionally pick something because of the RPM, because I don't know about you, Victoria, but when I started blogging, I had no clue about making money on the internet. And the purpose of starting that blog was never about making money. It was just simply to share my passion for the topic. But as I started to blog more and I wanted to look into that, I realized that the ways to make money in the space that I chose were very, very limited. And because of that, I thought, okay, well, I guess this is it. This is where we're at, and it'll never be something that makes money. However, the volume can be there and you can make money, whether that is going to be something that turns into side hustle money, or it's going to start paying for some of your actual bills, or it maybe even be full-time income money.
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea. I mean, really, we have a mutual friend, and she was the one who told me about ad networks. I didn't even know what an ad network was. I kind of low-key remembered a friend that I know in real life. We went to the same school. She actually started a blog. I remember her having a YouTube, and I low-key kind of remember her mentioning that, you know, she's aspiring to get on Google Ads, Google AdSense at the time. So you know, that was like just very distant though, because again, she wasn't in the business of blogging. She was just an online creative sharing what she was interested at the time. In that case, it was a little bit of fashion and home decor, and I genuinely loved her style. But like you, Fran, I just started blogging. Honestly, I've probably had like 5 different blogs. That's a different story for a different day. But it was definitely just because I love the topic. I used to go to restaurants and take pictures back in the day. Y'all remember when we used to take pictures of everything? Yes. And I would just post about it and say, oh, hey, I tried this new Lebanese place. Loved it. Or, you know, I decided to try this new shop and they have really cute outfits. Like there was no niche. I was just all over the place. It was whatever I was trying and loving at the time. So obviously, as I started to grow and evolve, I always led with interest first. But when I discovered ad networks, when I discovered like you could pay bills, like you could pay your rent with this money, I was super excited. However, if the RPM for you is low, I actually think you need to really double down on your traffic. So I think that is part of the reason why I got super excited about SEO. Unfortunately, I was late to the party. So now I'm really obsessed with social media traffic. And I know some people might feel like, well, social media traffic isn't the same. It's not as valuable. I beg to differ. I think there's some social media platforms, and I know this for a fact, have higher RPMs than Google traffic, because I just checked my ad network dashboard. And right now, Instagram is higher, Facebook is higher, YouTube is higher. So right now, I feel because my RPM is so low, I am in the volume game. I'm trying to build a brand and reach as many people, as opposed to being an influencer or a content creator who is constantly selling something and trying to squeeze money out of people.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's all about volume. If you are, especially in a lower paying niche, you have to build that consistency with volume. And I think what I'm obsessed with for that is brand and community, because if you build a brand that people know they can come to you for certain things, that's going to automatically give you those loyal and repeat people following you and going to your blog and giving you that traffic and connecting with you. And the same goes for building community. The more you build your community, the more they're going to be there for you and show up for you. And especially, I feel like in this day and age, if there is no money exchange or transaction, it one builds more trust with your community, but also it builds like more loyalty. They know they can show up to support you by clicking on something, by being there, and that is the support that they're giving you instead of a money transaction, which I think it's also a great relationship builder.
Yeah, and you know the thing I love the most? Listen, I don't have to launch anything. I don't have to plan like, okay, we need to get people, we need to ramp them up, and then boom, we need to present or offer. Like, I think that is so exhausting, even just from a content creator perspective, much less the audience. Again, I think the audience is so tired right now. So if you are someone watching, if you're like us, I mean, I'm gonna just speak for me. I do not like to sell. I don't like pressure tactics. I don't like creating urgency. I don't like any of those things. I feel like I just want people to organically want to be here. I want them to hang out. Like Fran said, community building is huge. And I think if you can get the people to support you and you can get them in that volume, it will work. It will pay your bills. And in an interesting way, you have to feed the beast, but then you also don't have to feed the beast, because another amazing thing that I have been experiencing now is that my content is living so much longer on social, especially Instagram. And I felt like Instagram used to be the place where content would just be posted, it would live for a little while, and it would die. I'm telling you, I have Instagram posts right now, real time, from 2 months ago, that is still giving me traffic. So you have to feed the beast, but also, you know what? The beast is still working for you even 2 months later. But then the other thing I do want to talk about, because before ads, okay, because like I said, I didn't know about ad networks. That was more a recent discovery for me. I will say something that my blog did for me was my blog was like this low-key resume to other companies and brands, because the truth is I made a lot of money. I made ridiculous money through services. I got hired for freelance work. I got hired to, kind of help curate an experience for brands and things. So the blog didn't just always pay cash. Actually, for me in the beginning, the blog itself, there wasn't like a direct correlation with cash from the blog. The blog actually provided me with so many different opportunities. It allowed me into meetings and doors. And like I said, to be a part of campaigns where I necessarily wasn't the face, I was just more behind the scenes. And it paid for amazing opportunities. So if you have a skill, if you have a way to communicate that is amazing, or plan something, or, I don't know, whatever it is that you can do, people will maybe start seeing you as, as someone who has expertise or experience or whatever it is in that topic, and they want to bring you on the team, even if it's just for freelancing, even if it's just for consulting. And that money is valid too, because listen, that too was a direct deposit and a check, and those are two things that I really love.
Yeah, I know, it was the same for me. And I think that the most important thing was the fact that those things, those opportunities, and that freelance work that I did as well, that wasn't even a thought when I was posting my little blog posts. It's like you have to be open that maybe that money's going to come from something else and from somewhere else. And the blog is just like your catalog, like you said, the resume that is going to open the door for something like that. Like maybe it's a promotion, maybe it's a better job within whatever you're talking about, if your blog is related to like what you're doing for work, or maybe what you're doing is the passion that you have, but that is not what you're doing for work, and it will give you the opportunity for getting in the door, maybe even like an apprentice position within the niche that you're doing. And I think that just from what I have also seen, not just from our experience in our niche, but I have seen so many people that have been able to become either full-time freelancers or open their own little small agencies and small businesses through the type of work that we are doing within our hobby niche, and they've been able to, go on to do certain things that are really exciting, and they are their full-time thing, and maybe they decide, okay, the blogging is not as important for me anymore, and then that starts going down. Like for us, we took the decision that we would do less of those services, so we focus more on the blog. And those are all opportunities that you can make those decisions. But just know that just because your niche doesn't pay the highest RPM doesn't mean that you're not going to have a slew of opportunities, because every single niche is valid for different reasons. And sometimes you don't even know what those job opportunities can be, because you don't even know those jobs exist until you're in it, until you're part of the community, until you talk to people, which is also why it's important to be part of the community when you are blogging. You should not be blogging in isolation. You should not be blogging, and not talking to other content creators within your niche and having conversations with all the different people that are in your niche. So I think that's also very important, because I have seen so many bloggers, especially the bloggers that thought everything is about SEO and they don't get into the social media streets, and that was working for them before, but they were never part of the community. So those kind of opportunities would have been few and far between for them, because they didn't make themselves part of the community. So I think that's also very important when you're having a blog.
Yeah, never put yourself up here like you're on the top of the hill and the peak and you're talking down to the peasants. Like, never do that. Instead, go down in the streets, and even if you feel like you know better, or your method is better, or your way is, like, come down and and talk to the people and get to understand like why they've been doing it this way forever. Get their insight, get their perspective, because maybe they'll share something that you had no idea about. I think immersing yourself, just like Fran said, in the community is the best thing ever. And I know so many people, again, let me give you all some examples. Like, you could be, I saw this one person, this ain't my story, but I've seen online where you have people, they are into food, and they started like this food truck business, because they wanted to open a restaurant, but they don't have the money to open their restaurant. But they started this food truck thing, and they've been sharing their journey about the food truck and blogging about it, vlogging, whatever method about it. And then all of a sudden now, you have execs who are in the restaurant business who have that kind of capital to, open up doors for them. Now they have that visibility, and now that opportunity is being provided for them. Low key, they could just have their food truck and focus on their food truck, but by chronicling their journey, they're now connecting with big people in the restaurant business. And the restaurant business isn't for the faint, okay? So when you have big people backing you, that in itself is a built-in amazing opportunity. I've also seen food truck businesses getting opportunities on sets for film and TV and content, and working with brands. Like, that in itself is really cool. I actually know someone who just came online and was sharing their reviews, and now they are working with a major streaming company, and all they were doing in the beginning was like sharing their reviews and saying that, well, I think this would be good, this would be good. Now they're working with them. And you could even be a professional. You could be an attorney, and you could be interested in entertainment. Share your entertainment hot takes, share your music takes. Before you know it, you might end up being the attorney of record, with a major music company. I know some gals who were reviewing Bravo, because I love Bravo on the down low. And now, they are working with big network companies, which really initially wasn't their speciality, but people are like, obviously you have the legal background, but you also have this passion, like, let's make something work. So no matter what it is, you could be gardening and you're just sharing your gardening tips. A company might see you and say, oh, hey, curate this for this set, curate this for this opportunity. Again, you're not physically gardening, but you're providing your expertise on, what would be fit historically or seasonally or based on location. Any topic you can think about, trust me, there is some historical element to it, there's some future element to it, and then there can be something culturally relevant. So definitely get into it, because we are also thinking about this as we think about future proofing as well, because sometimes you might hit that ceiling with niche. You might hit that ceiling with the sponsorship opportunities. You might not have as much expansions, because you might be listening to me and also saying, well, yeah, low key, that might work for that over there, but it is not working for me. So in order to kind of like ensure you're not just stop talking about your one niche anymore, this is where I feel like you are in the best era ever to break out. And we have a whole video talking about the different trends that are converging right now. now, which makes one, being a creator right now, the best time to be a creator, but also the best time to be a multi-passionate person. So even though you've been posting about that one thing forever, it is okay to pull in other things as well. Now is the best time to do that because those other little things might be more profitable than your big thing. We also have a Fix Your Brand Challenge to help you get clear on that as well. So we are adding pillars that can bring extra sponsorships to our brands to also help future-proof the money of it all, because we are in this to make money. You know, we love it, but we want to pay our bills too.
Yeah, definitely being multi-passionate right now is the way to go, and talking about more than just your passion. Talk about your other passions, and not just I want to be in this niche because it pays more money. Just truly talk about the things that you really love, and within those you'll find the one that maybe can make you a little bit more money in sponsorships. And in our Fix Your Brand Challenge, we get into how you can structure those different categories. Obviously, you never abandon your main passion, your main category, because that is your main niche. That is what people are there for. And the other things are there to, one, craft an experience for people, and also getting people to know you better. So you're going to attract the people that are connecting with all these different facets of who you are, which I think is really important when you're building a brand. So again, the Fix Your Brand Challenge guides you through this whole process and gives you kind of the tools that you can really craft that brand in a way that will connect with people. Plus, it will open up those sponsorship opportunities as well, because again, maybe those sponsorships that are going to pay you the money that you really need to pay your bills are going to be coming from those side topics, but that's what's going to support you talking about your passion project, even if that pays you less. So there's a lot of different ways that it's really exciting right now that you are able to make money. And I think the biggest takeaway from this is don't be scared to be in a niche that has a low RPM. I feel like in the blogging world, that's been the biggest thing. People always tell you that you need to be in the niche that's paying good money, and it needs to be food, it needs to be travel, it needs to be finance, it needs to be all these things. And the thing is, you should be doing the things that you're passionate about. And I know that's cliche and everybody says it, but people can tell. So the more you're putting in all of those things that are uniquely you, because the point is the combination of those things, it's what is uniquely you, you will attract the people that connect with you as a brand. And then that's what has value. And I think that's what will have value in the future even more. So don't be so focused on the RPM. I think that, that gets quickly solved by having more volume. And obviously that gets solved by, working it so that you are getting that traffic there. You're not just relying on Google traffic. You're adding all these different avenues of getting traffic to your blog, and that will increase how much money you make. There's other ways as you get into ad networks as well to increase money. You can add video, you can add all these things, then you add sponsorships. And there might be things along the way that add you money that you didn't even think about and you didn't even know that were a possibility. So just go in it because you love doing something, because at the end of the day, you got to do it every day and you got to be grinding on it. So hopefully this was inspiring to you. Let us know in the comments down below, what is the niche that you are doing a blog or you're creating content around. We'd love to see, what are your combinations? Are you talking about more than one thing? Are you stuck just in one and you're thinking about now expanding to other topics and other niches to sprinkle that in? And again, Fix Your Brand Challenge. Go and take that, watch that video. We have a nice PDF download to guide you through the whole thing, and let us know what you're going to be moving forward with within your brand. Now, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification. We post videos every Friday as we're documenting how we rebuild our blogs and our brands. We're talking about social media, we're talking about our blogs, we're talking about all the things, and we're just sharing with you real time what's working and what's not. And we also do co-working live every single Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so come and join us for that as well, all right here on the YouTube channel. So be sure you're subscribed, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.